Well, I decided to get involved with the project because it's obviously Manchester Pride's 21st year, and I spent my 21st year in Manchester, as in when I was 21. And it was quite a pivotal year for me. It meant a lot. There were a lot of changes going on in my life, and there were a lot of things that I learned to accept and be comfortable with, and it all happened in Manchester. And when I was 21, so it's kind of seemed to make sense.
Oh, I think it just fascinated me, the idea of revisiting oneself at 21. And that was one factor, and the second factor was that you were doing it.
I got involved in this project, first of all because I knew Jez, knew a little bit about his work, liked his work. I'm a big fan of art, and whenever I was 21, art was my life, and it just seemed like an exciting thing to get involved with, really.
I decided to become involved in the project because it seemed a little bit like reflective, so I was generally having to rake up something from the past. Not something that I wanted to bury, but a genuinely fun, happy memory, because it was very important to me, and that's hopefully what will come out of the photograph.
Partially because to a lot of people I look straight, and I was married to a guy for 15 years, and I guess it's just part of, you know, stating who I am or whatever. And I don't usually bother to talk about it very much in public because I don't actually talk about my sex life a lot. But I like the idea of like standing up. Not many people know black gay people. They don't know they exist. You got lots of silly stereotypes about what lesbians look like, you know, what bis are like, what, you know, just dumb stereotypes. And I thought, I am what a 51-year-old Leza looks like.
I'd gone through quite a lot of transformation in the sort of couple of years before my 21st birthday, and yeah, there was something. It actually really got me thinking in a good way, about the way things that had developed for me, and the fact that life was a lot better by the time I was 21 than it was, you know, a few years earlier.
Having the photograph of myself as a younger person worked well, I think. It was important to me to revisit a younger person and then be as I am now.
Doing it, I think, was interesting. It always is when you're having a camera pointed at your face, when you're trying to portray feelings that you had retrospectively and try and give other people the same impression of it. I don't think there's many gays that don't like having their picture taken, to be fair.
It was a very nerve-wracking experience. There was, I believe, a bridal party at one point and graduation photographs at the second. So it was a new experience for me. But I'm glad I did it. I'm glad to say that I can do this and contribute, and never be one of those people that goes, I'd love to do that, because I've done it.
Actually, working on the project, taking the photographs, I was quite excited about the prospect of making an idea a reality, and just kind of doing something crazy and kind of out there.
It was 1988, and I was called up to the wardrobe department from where we were based in the porter cabins in the stage management just outside the theatre. And I didn't know what it was to do with, and I was asked to go up there and talk to the wardrobe supervisor about something. And I genuinely thought it was something that I was in trouble about something. So I went up there under the pretense of thinking, oh, what's going to happen now? And as I approached wardrobe, the door to the store was slightly open, and I caught a couple of people's faces in there, and I thought, I didn't think anything of it. And then the wardrobe lady said, go back into that room because I want to show you something. And she was very stern, and I thought, oh, what have I done? Went into the room, and all of the people that I was in my year were stood there, and there was a big shout of surprise, and they all started to sing happy birthday to me. And out of the melee of all of this came this blue cake, which Sarah Jane, my best friend at drama school, had baked for me all night. She'd spent the whole night making this cake. And I just suddenly thought, oh my God, I can't believe this, that actually they've set this up for me, because I'd never ever had anything like that before. And because at that time I was actually out to all of my, friends at drama school, it was the first time that I felt as a person that I was accepted and that I felt happy.
Going back to when I was 21, I mean, for me, that is a while back. And it was weird because at 21, I think I was more connected to being bi or lesbian than I was almost any time since. And I think that I said at that time I knew I was in love with my female roommate. But, it was one of those unrequited, unstated sort of things, and it was all very miserable. And she was a bit mean. And I decided after that I already had enough problems, being sort of a depressive and crazy, without also trying to deal with girls on top of it. And I buried it totally. And it came back with a rush. And I realized that was who I really was. And I've just been relieved ever since.
I think it's no coincidence that when I came out at the age of 19 that my confidence went through the roof. I lost a significant amount of weight, and what I had always wanted to do when I was a kid was to get involved in more sport. But I just didn't have the confidence to do it. I absolutely hated PE at school because I just felt so self-conscious and so guilty of being in such close proximity to other lads, and it just wasn't possible. And then when I did come out and lost all the weight and started to get quite active, I started to do athletics. I was throwing the javelin for a while for a local athletics club, and it just sort of all grew from there. So what did I want to be when I was 21? Well, I wanted to be an athlete.
But what the project made me realise is that I actually have achieved what I wanted when I was 21, because I am a practicing artist and I feel like I'm doing quite well at that as well. But the most challenging part of the project, I suppose, is being on the other side of the camera. I've never been the model before, so that's quite a unique experience for me.
And then to get dressed up and get all the sort of reaction from the people on the street was actually a bit of a shock. It was a total shock, but it was fun, and it was, it was just like, I remembered, it's why I'm still living in Manchester, and why I so appreciated the village when I got in Scotland, because you just had, crazy people and a bunch of, women going down the street and just yelling, and a gay guy, just felt like he could, even though he didn't want to get, photographed, he was just part of the whole thing. And it was just fun, and it was just fun. It was just fun.
But it was fun. It was fun. I think the whole process it's quite nice to actually spend time reflecting back on being 21 and reflecting back on the past and analysing it. It's healthy. It's healthy to look back, and so I enjoyed that part of it. I enjoyed thinking back to 21, which wasn't long ago, but I enjoyed looking back and thinking, actually it was a very good year.
What does Manchester Pride mean to me? It means being accepted. I've moved to Manchester to become a policeman, and I can honestly say I've been accepted throughout my time. I don't have to hide it. I can just be who I want to be, and being part of Manchester Pride has helped me be that. You know, I've even been taking part in the Manchester Pride Parade in uniform, and that for me was a great experience, because people see me marching in uniform, they don't know that I'm gay because, well, it's not outwardly showing, you know, but I know I am, and I can be there and be proud to be part of it.
I think it's important that we have it, Manchester Pride. I've been to Paris Pride, and that didn't come anywhere near the organisation of Manchester Pride. So I'm glad it happens, and I'm glad to be part of it in a small way. There's often quite a lot of other stuff going on around that time of the year, and so I don't know if I'll be there or not this year. But I'm glad to be part of it.
I guess for me it's just a case of knowing that this city that I love loves me back. It sounds a bit cheesy, but I've lived in London, I've lived in Australia, I've lived in many places, but Manchester is a place I call home, and knowing that I'm comfortable in my home as such, it is probably one of the best experiences I can have. So Manchester Pride for me is the opportunity to know that people around me are accepting of who I am.
And the fact that we're all locked off into this one little village with gates all over the place, I don't care, because it's my place, you know, and I'm happy about that. And I don't care that actually I have to pay to get into my place, because actually I'm surrounded by my people.